It's Championship Sunday, beautiful King University in Bristol, Tennessee. Matt Stradley, welcome in. We're here joined by Miranda Regan for today's individual finals. And we've got the big one, the team finals, coming up at 5 o'clock this evening. The best of the best in each discipline show off their wares today. Miranda, exciting day in Conference Carolina.
Extremely exciting, and I think each of these athletes that are coming out here today are competing their heart out, especially the ones who did not make it to the finals today, so they're going to compete for a championship.
Coming up at 5 o'clock, it's the Saints from Limestone and the Bearcats from Lander.
Mm-hmm. We had exciting meets yesterday.
The one from the second semifinal yesterday, decided by fractions of a point.
Exactly. And
you told me every tenth matters, and you were prescient with that prediction.
Yes, especially between the second and third seed, it's always the closest matchup, and so it definitely showed yesterday. But I think this morning will be exciting to see each of these events happen. We're going to start off with our 5-element acro heat. There will be the top 3 seeds from their average of the entire season, and it's only the average based off of the conference meets. So any out-of-conference meets did not qualify for these events.
So in the 5-element acro, you have Belmont Abbey, who will be performing first. Coker and second. Lander will be the final performers of the 5-element acro. It's Bella Shrout, Gracie Grady, Blythe Terrell, and Valentina Ordonez for Belmont Abbey to start things off.
Belmont Abbey is going to start off with a 10.0 start value here.
The 5-element acro, they averaged 9.55 as their score on the season.
And we're extremely happy with that performance. I would agree. So that 360 to shoulders is extremely difficult, especially one-to-one. They executed that very well, and then that straddle into the stack position, beautifully done.
That'll bring up Coker next. We saw Layla Brzezowski yesterday, Zadie Delaney, Kaylin Francovilla, and Kayla Young. Coker in the first semifinals, going up against Limestone University. A valiant performance, but Limestone is just excellent.
They're top-notch this season. They're ranked 9th in the nation.
Every time I see an event, I'm like, this is my favorite event. And then it'll be time for the pyramid, and I'll be like, oh, I love the pyramid. That's my favorite event.
It's all extremely impressive in their own ways, and especially with the creativity that the teams have.
I think yesterday I thought I had settled on the toss being my favorite event, right? I thought I was settled.
Yeah. You liked pyramid at first.
I did. I still like pyramid. And I'm excited again because I think the more that I see sort of the everything that is the team competition at the end of the that's just, it's got everything, doesn't it?
It does.
It is the perfect buffet of acrobatics and tumbling.
So the officials are tallying their scores, and we will only announce the winning score today of the top 3 teams. And Coker is going to come out onto the mat with a 9.95 start value. Nice control there on that press down. And they're very pleased with that performance as well. These are going to be very close. I would expect each of these events and their scores to be closer.
And that should bring up Lander next. Ryan Swope, Avery Marquis, Kinsey Coker, and Riley Wolters.
With a 10.0 start value.
All the start values in the 5-element acro right at 10, 9.95. We'll round up. It's championship weekend.
The execution is what matters here. So each of these teams had a high enough average to make it in the top 3 in the conference to be able to compete in today's event finals.
The team's positioned around the mat, and it's loose. It's a tense, loose environment. You see some teams dancing. You see some teams talking, holding hands. It's an interesting mix of nerves and fun.
Yeah, because you want to go out here and compete your heart out, especially the teams that didn't make it past the quarterfinals or semifinals, because you're competing for a championship. But it's also a very friendly environment. Nice 4.5 off. We saw that yesterday. It was executed really well. I do expect each of those to be extremely close. They all hit, executed very well. The Lander, this is their little warm-up for tonight.
That's right. It was a close one with Coker yesterday. But
And this
Lander,
heat, too, I think, was
yeah,
pretty close. So
Lander just edging out Coker in the team competition was the decider. It was less than 2/100ths of a point going into
2/100ths of a point.
the final event.
And they both executed their team events, and Lander got the edge with a little bit higher start value.
And you have the Saints and the Bearcats. I'm fascinated by mascots. You have Crusaders, you have one of my favorites, the Cobras. You can't go wrong with a Cobra as a mascot. Bearcat's tough, though. I mean, what's tougher than a bear? A bear with a cat attitude. I love it.
So the teams are waiting at the back of the mat. The commissioner will come out and hand out the 5-element conference champion whenever the officials are ready.
And you know it's a championship weekend when Chris Colvin is there.
And Coker wins it with a 9.700 score. I'm extremely excited for that one. All of the scores will be released later this afternoon, but we only are announcing the top score. And we're going to move on to the 6-element acro.
Again, you see really high start values. It'll be Ryan Swope from Lander, along with Avery Marquis, Ashlyn Shively, Alana Eckert, Whitley Hoffman, Morgan Axiatis, Caden Groom, and Madison Owens. And this is about synchronization.
Exactly. So 6-element acro is our synchronized heat. They have a start value of a 9.85. A little bit of lack of synchronization there.
Now the buzzer that you heard, we haven't heard it very much, but you're allotted a certain amount of time.
You are. So we usually turn the buzzer off just due to if it is over time to not scare the athletes in the air. So the buzzer will probably turn off. I think you went over there and turned it off. But yeah, you are allotted your time limit, and if you go over, that can be a deduction.
That one, the time lapsed right at the end of the presentation.
Right. So, depending on the start values that the coaches have put into their SV files, if they are ending in the element in the air, that's when the officials are supposed to stop judging. So that's, one of the things that it won't go over the clock if they ended in the air for their 3 seconds and then they're coming down. Next up, we'll have Belmont Abbey with a start value of a 9.90.
That's going to be Bella Shrout, Lauren Pipes, Emily Woost, Sydney Singh, Maddie Quinlan, Gracie Grady, Blythe Terrell, and Valentina Ordonez. 7 teams being presented today. Limestone, Converse, Belmont Abbey, Coker, King, Emmanuel, and Lander.
Some minor deductions there, nothing crazy, but I think they're all right with it. Belmont Abbey competed against Lander in the quarterfinals, so that's the last time they were able to compete. So it's exciting to be able to have those athletes come out and compete again for a championship.
It's going to be Limestone with the top qualifying score. And Morgan Bramble, Emily St. Ange, Gabrielle Carter, Abby Henderlight, Casey Keir, Riley Rossman, Destiny McDonald, and Susanna Balderstone.
We have a 9.90 start value.
When it's been some time between competitions, it's harder to come out on the mat and do what you know you can do.
Yeah, sometimes it is, and especially for people who are, they know that their season's over, essentially, as a team. It's harder to keep the momentum going when they come out here for event finals.
Limestone, a top 10 in the nation.
And they will compete for their championship tonight.
That's going to be exciting. It'll be Limestone and Lander. The 3 seed, you said, seems to have some magic in these competitions.
Yeah, it's always been incredible. It's nice and loud out here for the Limestone Saints. This is good. And everybody's going to cheer her on. That's what it's about, is going up there and being able to execute that skill. A nice recovery there from Riley Rossman. I think she's okay. Sometimes it happens. It's kind of hard to avoid when you come off the back like that.
And it was a good recovery just to save that direct contact with the head on the ground. I think her teammates really had her back.
Yeah. And that's why it's important for safety reasons to have some spotters around. And, you know, that base did a good job of trying to keep her head off of the ground. So while we wait on those scores for the 6 element acro, we will talk about how, you know, again, these athletes competed yesterday. Mm-hmm. And if you're not mentally sharp in the morning, and, you know, sometimes that does happen, and you have to stay on top of your A game.
And it doesn't take much of a mental, just a momentary lapse, a momentary float.
Yeah, for something simple to happen. So, but they did great at recovering. I think everything else was very solid. So this will be close as well.
We've got one more acro coming up. It'll be the 7 element after the judges finish up their scoring. Coker, Belmont Abbey, and Lander will participate in the 7 element acro. Chris Colvin, you know it's a championship Sunday when you see the conference commissioner.
Lander wins that with an 8.975 score. They are your 6 element champions.
And they'll get to do it one more time this afternoon at 5 o'clock when they take on Limestone. You always want to put your best foot forward, but if you're going to have a mistake, is it better in the individuals or in the team competition?
Individuals, for sure, yeah. Get your jitters out for the day, and you've been able to execute. So Cooker's out with a start value of a 10.0.
Hannah Helms, Amber Garcia, Callie Jones, and Kayla Young.
Beautiful pull off there. Very solid execution on that.
When you're on top and you're in the base's hands and you're going to do a 180, what is the role of the top? Is just to keep your center of gravity stable?
Yeah, so you keep your core tight and squeeze every muscle you can. And that's usually the bases will initiate when that 180 happens. And as long as they stay stacked with their shoulders in line with their whole body, they're able to execute just like that was. That was beautifully done, especially with the base being able to absorb, you know, catch high, bring it to her shoulders instead of it just hitting her shoulders. That's what the officials want to see.
After the judging, it'll be Belmont Abbey up next. Arena Chapels, Madeline Martin, Kristen Ferry and Bree Camp.
They also have a start value of a 10.0.
And the 7-element acro, if you don't have a start value of a 10.0.
Yeah, it would be very hard for you to be able to qualify for sure. Again, these are based on averages throughout the entire season. And Belmont Abbey will take the mat.
Belmont Abbey, the second highest qualifier in the 7-element acro.
Rowena Chappels was the conference specialist of the year for the second time. She's the top that you will see in this event. Strong stability here. That was a beautifully executed 7-element. They're very, very pleased with that.
That brings up your next performers. It'll be Lander with Taryn Lawrence, Brooklyn McCaffrey, Kristen Reynolds, and Phoenix Woodard.
Also with a start value of a 10.0.
So when you have the judges and they're doing their comparisons, they're showing their deductions, it takes a little bit of work because one may have seen something that the others didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And the head official will take the average of the execution officials on the bases and tops. So you have 2 execution officials on tops at championships, and then you have 2 execution officials on bases, and then you have 1 head official. So again, it's, you know, taking the average of those 2 deductions. Nice extended hand in hand here.
Thank you, Queen.
And they have a nice 7-element acro there. They executed very well last night as well, and I think they're very pleased with that. Those hand-to-hand elements are extremely hard to keep sturdy and steady, and I think they did a great job there.
Lander scoring a 9.6 on that routine back on April 5th. As we wait, one of my favorites coming off the pyramid. I say that because I said that about acro, and I'm definitely going to say that about the toss, and probably say that about tumbling because tumbling is awesome, right?
Yes. Yeah, so first up after this is going to be inversion pyramid. We'll have Lander, Limestone, and Belmont Abbey. Oh, with a start value of a 10.0 as well.
So with an inversion pyramid, not to get ahead of ourselves, we are waiting on the final judging. What are we looking for? What are the elements that we want to make sure that we see?
So the requirements are that they have to have a 180 twist or more in degrees, up or down, and then they have to have an inverted skill in that pyramid. So you'll see high-handed hands, you'll see low-handed hands, you'll see inversion, non-handstands, things like that. So that's what the officials are looking for as far as requirements. And then obviously same thing as throughout every single meet, the structure, the stability, the strength of the athletes, and then the positioning, body positions at the top, and then all the way through until the landing.
It'll be a set of 3 coming up.
And the commissioner will come out.
Oh, when the commissioner comes out, we know we got our scores.
Yes. And with a score of a 9.700, Lander will take the 7-element acro conference champion.
So it's Lander with 2. They won the 6 and the 7 element, and it's Coker winning the 5 element. Well, the 2 and the 3 seed cleaning up in the acro portion of our program.
Yes. And that is to be expected, as most would think.
It'll be inversion pyramid. Like we said, we've got to watch out for that 180. It'll be Lander first. Limestone will be up second. Belmont Abbey with the top qualifying time. It's Lainey Carroll, Riley Walter, Sarah Locke, Brooklyn McCaffrey, Taryn Lawrence, Caden Groom, Madison Owens, Avery Marquis, and Phoenix Woodard for Lander, the Bearcats.
These event finals move pretty quickly, so you celebrate for a little bit, and then you might have to come back out and compete. Nicely executed, as you saw. It's the degree of difficulty is at 10.0, doing a 1-to-1 extended hand-in-hand position on top of thighs. So extremely impressive. She held that with a slight bend in her arm, but other than that, very well done.
Limestone up next. It'll be Genesis Carson, Cameron King, Susanna Balderstone, Alicia Lefkowitz, Haley Fox, Kylan Henson, and Janai Brown.
And they will also have a start value of 10.0, and I'm pretty certain it's the same pyramid.
When you're when you're, I guess, the base, but you're sort of already being cramped up on thighs.
The mid-base, you were correct.
Yeah, mid-base, okay. I second-guessed myself, which is normal. How tough is it? Because you're utilizing a lot of core and upper body, and you have to kind of lock your legs out.
Exactly, yeah. So it's important to have a strong base structure to be able to hold you up to feel confident, but also that mid layer is extremely difficult position. Cameron King is used to this position as well. And that was a nice pyramid. We're very, very pleased with that.
As the judges tally up, it'll be Belmont Abbey's turn. Arena Chapels, Madeline Martin, Kylie Brophy, Bree Camp, Emily Roost, Gabby Cox, and Kristen Ferry.
Belmont Abbey is the top ranked in this heat. And they do a different pyramid that we haven't seen. They will be in a bridge position that we spoke about yesterday, that you'll see later today as well. And the mid base is standing freely, and then they do in a hand-to-hand position.
Belmont Abbey, a score of 9.8 this season on this element. And when it comes to these individual finals, you have to give yourself the maximum possible points. So you're going to see a lot of 10.0 start values.
Yes, exactly. There's different ways that you can, as a coach, incorporate the strengths of your program. And this one right here shows it's a very different pyramid than the last two that you have seen. But it still has a start value of a 10.0. That's that degree of twist that we were speaking about. So she does it on the way up.
That was a tough pyramid. It was one all the way up. There wasn't a lot of outside help. The three that made up the pyramid putting in a lot of work.
Yeah, sorry. I was very impressed by that hold, honestly, because she definitely fought for that. But that's what you want to see. And that's extremely hard. So that mid-base, she held it all the way till the very end and fought to keep it in the air.
We'll wait for the scores of the inversion pyramid. My favorite pyramid, the synchronized pyramid, coming up. It'll be Lander, Coker, and Belmont Abbey. Belmont Abbey, you've seen them a lot in both the acro elements and now into the pyramid elements.
Exactly. They had an incredible season, and it kind of shows, obviously the averages that you've seen today has gotten them into each of these events and heats.
And Chris Colvin coming out to the center of the mat. We know we have our score to win. A third discipline win for Lander.
9.9 on that pyramid. I would agree with the officials. That was very, very clean, extremely sturdy, exactly what the officials wanted to see. So a 9.9 out of a 10.0 for Lander to be the inversion conference champion.
The 9.9, the second highest all season by any team. So for the synchronized pyramid, it'll be Lander up first. Riley Walters, Aaron Raper, Ashlyn Shively, Kristen Reynolds, Sophie Watterson, Madison Owens, Kinsey Coker, Taryn Lawrence, Avery Marquis, and Danielle Crusisto. Missed it last night, missed it today. I'll get it right tonight.
I think she'll forgive you.
We'll get it right tonight.
Very well executed.
It seemed the element of synchronization was there.
Synchronization was on.
That'll bring up Coker up next. After the judging, it'll be Hannah Helms, Amber Garcia, Ariel Davis, Callie Jones, Bianca Reno, Layla Brzezowski, Kaylin Francavilla, Jada Dalton, Kayla Young, and Alexa Baggett. Another 10.0 start value. We're going to see a lot of those today.
Yes, and I think you'll see that same pyramid again executed from Coker with that 10.0 start value.
When you see the same pyramid back to back, it can be good if you make it a little cleaner. It can be difficult if yours has some noticeable differences.
Yes, and the judges are officiating real time, so whatever they see, that is what they stick with. But this also, kind of goes to that direct comparison. That was very well done. I think that Coker has great straddle hold positions. They're well above parallel and nice extended legs, toes pointed. That's what the officials want to look at.
That'll bring us to Belmont Abbey, the team of Lauren Pipes, Blythe Terrell, Kristen Ferry, Lauren Phillips, Mackenzie Linegar, Arena Chappels, Madeline Martin, Sydney Singh, Kylie Brophy, Bree Camp, Emily Woost, and Gabby Cox. The elements of the synchronized pyramid that I love have been on point.
Yes, the synchronization.
Exactly.
That's exactly what. It's very impressive, and I think to someone who doesn't know the sport itself, it's always more impressive when you have athletes in sync and doing it together. It's always fun to watch. And Belmont Abbey comes out onto the mat. They were the top seed in synchronized pyramid for the year.
Lander, who has taken 3 straight elements.
Beautiful on that off there. And that is why they were the top ranked for the season. I'd say they had those nice elevated straddle holds, just like Coker did in that last event, the last heat. They seem very happy with that. So the only difference between the pyramids would be that Belmont Abbey did the flip off rather than the twist off. But again, that's like the discretion of the coaches and what they choose and that creativity piece.
It'll be the open pyramids after we get the scores in, waiting on the judges to tally it up, decide on the winners. There's not a lot to pick from in those 3. Those were 3 excellent pyramids. I thought the synchronization.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be close for sure.
I'll be excited later on today when all 3 scores are released to see how close everyone really was. It'll be the open pyramid coming up next. Coker, Emmanuel, Belmont Abbey will be competing. Again, starting values of 10 straight down the board.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like we do have our score. And Coker wins it with a 9.850 out of a 10.
Coker's second individual component win. We saw 3 really excellent pyramids. I'm glad I didn't have to choose between them.
Yeah, that I definitely think later on we'll have to look at those scores and see how close they were, because I definitely think it was close.
Coker right back out onto the mat. It'll be Hannah Helms, Elizabeth Ferrister, Kenneth Bulish, Riley Daner, Callie Jones, Kaylee Young, Ariel Davis, and Kaylin Francavilla.
This is where you'll see kind of some different creativity amongst the teams. You see that 1-to-1 extended. And a nice pop down from the pyramid there. They did a great job on that one last night as well, so props to Coker on that one.
The control from the mid base to bring the top down slowly into from the extension.
Yes, a lot of core strength, a lot of upper body, because they are standing on someone's thighs. It's a lot harder. They can't use their legs as much. And Emmanuel is going to make their first debut today, this morning.
It's going to be Kayla Talley, Ensley Boyd, Ashley Aston, Zemily Shirley, and Abby Shellbecker. Start value of 10, which is to be expected through the pyramid. It looks like all 10s through the pyramid. And when you say that with the open, you know, there's no one way, it's a little bit more about creativity. What are some of the more creative elements that you've seen in the open?
Definitely that 1-to-1 extended. There's different ways you can do an entry level to that, or you can toss it to the air. You know, just whatever the strength is of your program. So as you see here, they're about to do a bridge pyramid that is similar to what we saw in the synchronized heat. Very nicely executed. So different than what we've seen today. You'll see that pike position. And so that is, during an entire meet, that is one of the requirements, to have different body positions. So that was very well executed. She did the 360 down to the ground, the flip off. I think they're very pleased. And that was their first time out on the mat this morning.
It'll be Belmont Abbey up last. The top qualifier of Lauren Pipes, Blythe Terrell, Kylie Brophy, Kristen Ferry, and Mackenzie Liniger.
Belmont Abbey still, you know, they've performed in almost every heat. They have performed in every heat. So I know they're fighting for a championship win here.
They appear once in the toss, and then they'll be back in the tumbling. There'll be another bridge pyramid, it looks like.
Look at you learning. Proud.
Right in front of everybody. It's great, isn't it?
And again, with that nice piked position. And that was very well executed. She's the same pyramid as Emmanuel, but great body position there. You want to see that pike hold to be above level, above 90 degrees, and I think she executed that very well.
And anytime you have leg extensions, you want to see toes pointed.
Toes pointed, legs locked out, above 90 degrees. Sometimes with the different angles of the cameras, it's a little harder to tell if you're watching, but we're on the floor level, so we can be able to tell what the officials see.
For the last pyramid, it'll be Coker, Emmanuel, or Belmont Abbey who take home a championship. It'll either be the third for Coker of the day or the first for Emmanuel or Belmont Abbey. We're waiting the input of the scores. from my view, again, not a lot in it. And these are very, very close
Very
pyramids.
close, yeah. They've done really well today. It's hard to come out after competing, last night, and or I guess at 3 o'clock yesterday and 12 o'clock yesterday. So it's a lot to come out here and be able to compete again at a high level.
And keep in mind, we do have a 5 o'clock team championship tonight. Conference Commissioner Center Matt. Let's hear who the winner is. Coker wins their 3rd individual championship of the day.
They had a score of a 9.875. I think that they're saying that they've won that the last couple of years, and I'm pretty certain they have, so I'll have to double check that.
Excitement from Coker as it'll be the toss and tumbling coming up.
Up next, yeah, so they're going to take a short break. There's a little halftime for them to warm up, and then we'll be back.
Hey, let's take a short break. That sounds good. Don't go anywhere. Back in 15 minutes. It'll be the toss and the tumbling on the Conference Carolinas Digital Network. Back inside the Student Center Complex on the campus of King University. Matt Stradley joined by Miranda Regan. Thanks for joining us. The second half of the individual event finals for Conference Carolinas. We've gotten the pyramid out of the way. We've gotten the acro out of the way. Your thoughts through the opening 2 events?
They've had really tight, close events here. I'm really interested to see those scores later just to see how close they were. But overall, I think they've done an incredible job and have executed very well, each of the teams that have qualified here today for the championships for event finals.
So a 9.9, a 9.875, and a 9.85 in the pyramids. Those are some
high scores.
Lofty scores.
Yeah. So we're coming up on the 450 salto toss, and Converse is going to hit the mat for their first time today too, right?
Sienna Brown, Chloe Cleland, Yana Manning, Hannah Baker, Meredith Brookshire.
The 9.50 start value. Very well executed. That kick, back layout 360 into the toss. So what the officials are looking for here is obviously the amplitude, the extension from the bases and the top. So we're going to reach the peak height of that skill before flipping or twisting. So I think she could have ridden it up a little bit more, but it was a very beautiful toss.
Brings up Emmanuel, Kayla Talley, Ansley Boyd, Ashley Aston, Emily Shirley, and Abby Shellbecker. Check that. I'm looking at the wrong event. It's Lander, or Limestone coming up with first, Emily St. Ange, Gabrielle Carter, Alex Long, Casey Keir, and Janai Brown. And Lander will be the 3rd team to compete, the highest qualifier in this particular event.
And this is a 9.90 start value here. You see this nice laid out double full toss here. And we're very pleased with that. I'd say it's very well executed. She had a minor piked position coming through at the very end, but other than that, beautifully done.
That'll bring up Lander, Ryan Swope, Avery Marquis, Kristen Reynolds, Phoenix Woodard, and Kenzie Coker will be the final participants in the 450 salto toss.
They also have a start value of a 9.9, and they will also be doing that double full toss.
Specifically for the 450 salto, 9.9 is a really high start value.
Yes, absolutely. So tosses are very difficult to get the high difficulty, high start values. So these tops have a lot of work to do whenever they're twisting twice in the air, coming all the way through in that nice tight position. Bases have a lot to do from the ground up, explosiveness, and then the tight catches.
You've got to give the top enough space to do the moves. The top has to be patient. That's going to be the hardest part.
Yes.
Is waiting to get to the
very
peak of that wave.
Of the skill, yep.
Yeah. Here comes Lander. They've got 3 championships today. The first half of the program was the Lander and Coker show.
Yeah, they executed very well so far and took home some championships. So a little bit of feet crossed, that pike through coming in, which is, going to happen sometimes. So I think overall she made it through, and they're pleased with that.
It'll be Converse with their first championship on the day in their first event competed. It'll be Limestone on the board for the first time today, or it'll be the 4th for Lander.
Lander and Limestone have a little bit of an edge with that 9.9 start value, but you honestly never know, depending on how many deductions they take off.
All eyes on the conference commissioner as he cradles the conference championship in his hands.
Just waiting for his cue to take the mat.
He's got that thing protected 2 hands like you teach a ball handler in football. Yeah, no fumbles here from the commissioner.
Yeah, no dropping that trophy there.
It is an important piece of hardware. It's an acknowledgement of excellence on the mat. It'll be the synchronized toss coming up, the penultimate toss of the morning session, and then followed by the open toss. I think open toss is my favorite. I like the little bit of creativity. I like to see a little bit of differentiation between the teams, and each team can show their personality in the open toss.
Yeah, and it is, again, the discretion of the coaches. Sometimes they'll do that in the 450 salto toss, and then they'll switch it to the open toss, etc. So looks like we do have our score. He's having some difficulty over there. I'm just waiting on the mic to work.
The technical difficulties is the teams patiently wait. Commissioner patiently waits. Hey, they've got it figured out.
They got it back. Well, maybe.
We celebrated too soon.
Yeah. They still can't get it to work. Limestone will take that with a 9.425 out of a 9.9. Very well deserved there.
There's a lot of drama in the announcement as the microphone kept cutting out. It's Limestone's first championship of the day. The number 1 seed in the team competition will compete again at 5 o'clock today against Lander for the team championship. I'll get us down to the synchronized toss.
Yes, first up will be Lander, and their start value is a 9.40.
Be Ryan Swope, Avery Marquise, Kenzie Coker, Phoenix Woodard, Riley Walters, Ashlyn Shively, Kristen Reynolds, Madison Owens, Casey Sutherland, Whitley Hoffman. We're looking for, of course, synchronization, but what else are we keeping our eye out for?
Same exact thing as I spoke about before with the 450 salto toss. You want to see that amplitude of the toss, the extension from the bases in the top, and then a nice catch on that cradle position. That was pretty good on their part there. So that you want to see, no feet separation from the tops as well. That cradle position, they have to be nice, tight, and hollow, and laid out as they ride into the basket or the cradle. Sorry.
And when you hit the cradle can't drop too much. If
Correct,
they get below a certain level, then it's points deducted.
Correct. Yep. So they did really well there. They seem to be happy with that one as well.
That'll bring up Belmont Abbey in their only appearance in the toss. It'll be Bella Shrout, Kristen Ferry, Blythe Terrell, Emily Woost, Trinity Martinez, Bree Camp, Madeline Martin, Maddie Quinlan, Mackenzie Linegar, and Sarah Brady for the Crusaders.
They have a 9.30 start value. This is a different toss that we haven't seen yet today. So they'll be going side to side, and you'll see a nice Arabian pull through 180. Nicely performed there. You want to see their legs shoot out in a nice tight position. So I would say a little bit of bent knees on both sides there, but overall, really, really well done. I think the synchronization was on, which is your favorite to watch.
It is. I do love synchronization. To me, doing two amazing things at the same time will always trump doing one amazing thing at the same time. It'll bring up Limestone, Emily St. Ange, Gabrielle Carter, Alex Long, Casey Keir, Janai Brown, Riley Rossman, Cameron King, Amanda Gary, Alicia Lefkowitz, and Michaela Norzer.
And they will be performing the same toss that Lander performed with a 9.40 start value. So these are all very close in start values as well.
Limestone, the top qualifier in the synchronized toss. Their first individual event championship coming in the 450 salto toss. Looking to make it 2 in a row. The judges completing their tabulations for Belmont Abbey before moving on to Limestone. So when they're judging 3 teams back-to-back, they'll complete the calculations for the first team before moving on to the second.
Correct. Yeah.
Here come the Saints.
I'm very pleased with that. It was nice amplitude on each toss. I think synchronization was on. Nice tight cradle catches. I think it'll be a close one once again.
Will either be the first championship on the day for Belmont Abbey, the 4th for Lander, or the 2nd for Limestone. Limestone looking to make it 2 in a row. Lander went 3 in a row between the acro and the pyramid, winning the
acro 6, 7, and the inversion pyramid.
And then Coker coming back, winning 2 straight before Limestone took the 450 salto, looking to make it 2 straight in the toss. Limestone is very good at just about everything.
They're a very well-rounded team, and that's exactly why they're going to be in the team finals tonight.
As we wait for the scoring to complete, it'll be the open toss next. A little bit of creativity on show for Lander, Belmont Abbey, and It'll be the third straight toss for Limestone.
We're jamming out in here.
Yeah. You still see a good amount of dancing between the teams. Look down to our left, King warming up for the tumbling. They'll show up in the trio tumbling. I'm excited about the team finals tonight. I know we've got a lot of individual event finals left to go as the commissioner makes his way out to center mat. And we'll pause for the announcement of the champion.
And your Conference Carolina synchronized toss champion with a score of 8.750, Limestone.
And Limestone will take that one with an 8.750 out of a 9.40 score.
Back-to-back championships for Limestone as they've taken the 450 salto toss and the synchronized toss. As Limestone building momentum. They are the third team to win a championship. It'll be Lander with 3, Coker with 3. Now Limestone standing with 2 individual event final championships.
Emmanuel is going to come out for their open toss foot with a 9.90 start value. This is their second event heat.
That'll be Christina Bappel, Isabel Cunningham, Ansley Boyd, Shania Risper, and Jada LaRoche.
Nice toss there. That was an Arabian pull through. And she twisted twice, whereas the other ones we've seen have not. That was very well executed. And shout out to Coach Sierra Gray, who was also named Coach of the Year for Conference Carolinas this year. She's helped build that program, and they were able to compete a 9.9 start value there.
That's going to bring up Coker. It'll be Olivia Sisson, Zadie Delaney, Callie Jones, Chloe Hull, and Jada Dalton.
Coker also has a start value of a 9.90. And this is the toss we saw last night. It was executed very well.
Coker and Lander really dotting through each of the different events. They've shown up big today, 3 championships apiece. And it was a fantastic battle between them in the semifinals of the team championships yesterday.
And competing yesterday afternoon and then coming in this morning, it shows that mental strength and that toughness, and that their training they've done all year has paid off.
Coker takes the mat.
Very well executed. A little bit of a gainer, so she went a little forward at the very end, but overall she has great height, amplitude. They're able to catch her tight and no feet crossed. Those are the things that the officials are looking for. But they do have that high start value of a 9.9 as well.
That brings up your final team in the toss. It's going to be Lander, Taryn Lawrence, Brooklyn McCaffrey, Rebecca McNeely, Riley Walters, and Alana Eckert.
Lander has a start value of a 9.7.
It's a slightly lower start value than both Emmanuel and Coker.
Yes, and just a little bit different toss that you're going to see here. She's going to do a front kick double toss. So 2 twists. And you'll see her kick, and she will be flipping forward.
How difficult is that to do without moving on the mat?
extremely difficult, especially those front tosses. The top really has to ride and stay with their hips in line, and it was actually a toss that I was able to compete when I was competing, and I definitely know that it is very easy to travel in those, and all of the tosses as well. You know, you have to stay stacked over your bases, you know, to prevent the traveling.
It'll be tumbling after the final toss event. And you've got the duo, trio, quads, and then the individuals of aerial, 6-element, and open.
All of those are going to be fun to watch these teams execute. These tumbling passes that they've worked on, especially the individual passes.
Tumbling is one of the events where I don't like synchronization more. I don't know why. Here is Lander.
Nice high catch there. As I spoke about before, she did a different toss. She did a front kick double toss. A little minor feet separation at the end, but overall pretty good.
It'll be down to the judges to decide between Emmanuel, Coker, and Lander. Will it be the first individual event championship for Emmanuel of the day? Will it be Coker and Lander adding to their growing treasure chest of championships, 3 each so far in the individual championship? We're now breaking into the afternoon. I don't know. I think it's close.
I do. I think that it would be really cool if Emmanuel could pull that one off. I think they would be really excited to have a championship here at the conference tournament.
And I think that they're right in it.
They are, yeah. The start value is high. She executed really well. But they all did a great job.
It's fun to see the teams doing excellent out there. And so far we've seen that excellence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's incredible across the board.
It'll be on to the tumbling. We'll do the duo, trio, and quad tumbling first before we get to the individuals. Duo, trio, and quad are all about hitting the elements cleanly, but also in the synchronization of those elements.
Exactly. And some of these start values will start to vary between tumbling, so we'll get to see that. Looks like we have our score. And Lander will take that one with a 9.150 out of a 9.70.
It's the 4th championship of the morning for Lander as they prepare for their team championship at 5 o'clock today against Limestone.
And the teams will start to clear the mat as we head into the tumbling event.
It's an event that requires more of a run-up, so you got to give space.
Exactly, yeah. On the corners and the side. Alrighty, first up we'll have Emmanuel with a 9.10 start value.
Serena Michnik and Christina Bappel.
A lot of power there from Christina. Beautiful lines that round off 1.5. So the judges or the officials want to look at nice clean landings, nice body shapes in their tumbling. But overall, good job from them.
For Lander, it'll be Ryan Swope and Phoenix Woodard. Now, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. I think it bears repeating that you're given a step, either forward or backward.
Correct. So it has to be declared on your start values that you send in. But yes, you are allotted that controlled step, either forward or backward, depending on how you land. But it's one controlled step, so that's what you want to see. So you obviously saw her power. She had so much power, she had to take 2 steps. So that's a minor deduction there. Nothing major.
It's Emmanuel Lander and Limestone in the duo tumbling passes.
Lander has a start value of a 9.40. So whip through to 1.5.
Lander, the second highest qualifier in the duo tumbling. 4 championships on the day? That's right, 4 championships on the day for Lander.
From Lander, Ryan Swope and Phoenix Woodard.
A little bit of lack of synchronization there, but landed on their feet, and they have the higher start value.
That's going to bring up Limestone with Emily St. Ange and Sana Newberry.
Limestone has a start value of a 9.5, so 0.1 higher.
Limestone searching for their 3rd individual event championship of the day. St. Ange and Newberry split out, ready to go. Waiting on the judges to complete their scoring of Lander.
They executed this very well yesterday also, so they just have to do it again. And then again tonight.
Lander and Limestone again at 5 o'clock for the team championship. Lander with 4 individual championships on the day, 2 for Limestone.
And now with a start value of 9.50. From Limestone, please enjoy Yana
To make sure she had saluted the judges. She pulled that out. That's okay. Just a minor under rotation there to get out of that 4.5, but overall very strong skills.
Fought back into the routine well, I thought.
Yeah, oh yeah, she was able to execute the skills that are on the start value. So I think that's extremely important, and she didn't just give up, she fought for it.
Again, I think extremely close. I don't think anybody had that dream run, that perfect execution.
Yeah, this one will be close.
After the duo, it'll be the trio. It'll be Belmont Abbey, King, and Limestone.
This will be King's first debut this morning.
Seven teams competing in the individual championships today. It's Limestone, Converse, Belmont Abbey, Conker, King, Emmanuel, and Lander, the 7 teams who have been invited to the individual event finals. And that's an exclusive invitation list. You have to average over conference competition in the top 3
all season long. Yeah, so any out of conference is not included in these averages, so it is only against conference opponents. And it looks like we are going to have our scores in just a minute. And Emmanuel will take their first conference championship of the day with a score of an 8.025 out of a 9.10. We're very excited about that one.
The championship for Emmanuel, their first individual event championship of the day. And the celebration just to the top left of your television screen. That's what the Conference Carolinas weekend's all about, isn't it?
Exactly, and a team that made it to the quarterfinals, that didn't make it to semis or finals, can come out here and compete and win a championship.
It's time for the trio tumbling. It's going to be Maddie Quinlan, Deanna Woodward, and Irina Chappels for Belmont Abbey. King and Limestone also in the trio tumbling.
We have a 9.10 start value. Great synchronization there. Round off back handspring 1.5. All took the one controlled step.
Even the controlled step looked fairly synchronized.
And that's what you want to see. Yes, exactly.
Well done by the team from Belmont Abbey. King will be next up on the mat. It'll be Mackenzie Templeman, Madeline Robinson, and Alyssa Talaback.
They also have a 9.10 start value.
Awaiting the completion of the scoring of Belmont Abbey's trio tumbling pass. After the trio, it'll be the quad tumbling, then the 3 individual rounds. And then we just all gear up, get ready. A little chai latte before the 5 o'clock team finals. I'm not making you go to get a chai latte, but I mean, whatever you want.
Just a slight break there. They will have an award ceremony in between.
We will have that live. We'll have a brief break as they get it set up. Estimated to be about 5 minutes. Don't go too far from the Conference Carolinas digital network. Here's King.
And that was a beautiful round-off whip full from them. Again, a different pass that we haven't seen today. Same start value. Very beautifully executed by the 3 King athletes there.
Limestone up next on the pass. It'll be Haley Fox, Avery Kopke, and Kylan Hansen for the Saints.
And they also have a 9.10 start value. This will be the same pass that you saw from Belmont Abbey College. Round off back handspring 1.5 with that controlled step forward.
There's not a lot between the first 2 from my untrained eye. It looked to be fairly close.
Very, very close. This one should be very close. Everybody was on with your synchronization.
Judges finishing up their calculations for the King athletes.
And that's pretty on point there too. Nice synchronization, step forward. So you may have noticed their upright position, so they're not bending in their knees too much. They don't have a strong lunge forward. It's just a very slight step forward, nice and clean. So that one's gonna be close. If I were an official, that would be hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't want the job.
That one's gonna be very close.
You know, we talked about it a little bit before the broadcast, but there have been ties.
There have been ties before, and typically what they will do is if there is a tie, they will have the 2 of them battle it out, or 3 if that's the case, and then they would rematch up.
Have you ever seen a 3-way tie?
Not a 3-way tie. I've seen a 2-way tie multiple times here in the championships as well. Last year we had one, I believe, and the year before that. Typically, it's tumbling or pyramids. Those are usually the ones that I've seen.
The score's in. You can tell because the commissioner moving to center mat.
And your Conference Carolinas Trio Tumbling Champion with a score of 8.500. Limestone.
And Limestone will take that with an 8.500.
Limestone's third championship of the day for the individual event finals.
That one's definitely probably a close one. I'm interested to see the scores on those.
Bring us into the quad tumbling. It'll be Limestone right back on the mat, followed by Converse, and then it'll be Belmont Abbey with the highest qualification score. Here's Limestone with Anna Warren, Morgan Brandel, Susanna Balderstone, and Amanda Gary.
An 8.50 start value. Round out back handspring, full. Nice controlled steps there. Good timing. I'm sure the officials will see other things that we don't see.
The Converse up next will be Krista Gaines, Ayana Manning, Madison Seymour, and Nia Jackson. A higher start value than the other two competitors in this event.
Yes, they have a 9.15 start value. They have some whips included into this pass.
So high risk, high reward when you choose the higher starting value, specifically nearly a little bit over a half a point higher than your competition.
And that can happen. Depending on the athletes that you have, do you take the risk or do you do what you're confident in?
This will be the final event of the duos, trios, and quads, and then we get to the individuals coming up immediately after the quad tumbling passes, waiting on Converse and then Belmont Abbey.
And nice job from them to get those whips on count. A little bit of a step forward on the front, so that will be a small deduction as an under rotation. But other than that, really, really well executed.
Brings up the final of the quad tumbling participants. It'll be Belmont Abbey with Sadie Hunt, Maddie Quinlan, Arena Chappels, and Sarah Brady. They'll be moving from your left to your right.
We have an 8.50 start value, so the same start value as Limestone here.
I think when you have one team that's doing an event that's their starting value so much higher, it's tough to compare the two together. To me, that's why we have judges, right?
Exactly, yes. Just the amount of deductions, so the team with less deductions may get it even though they have a lower start value.
Belmont Abbey looking for their first individual championship of the day.
Yes, that was very well executed. Round off full, so that was a little different than Limestone. Still the same start value.
Belmont Abbey happy with the performance. It'll be Belmont Abbey, Converse, or Limestone. It'll be the first individual championship for either Converse or Belmont Abbey. For Limestone, they've racked up 3, looking for their 4th.
And Converse is looking for 1, and so is Belmont Abbey.
All eyes on the commissioner. They know when his feet hit red, they've got a decision on hand. They were all really clean to me.
Yes, very clean, and that's what you expect out of a quad. Sometimes less elements in the skill, less deductions.
Limestone off to your right. It's Converse front and center. The Crusaders off to the left. Belmont Abbey had the highest qualification score coming into today.
It looks like we are about to announce the winner.
Quad Tumbling champion with a score of 7.775. Belmont Abbey.
And Belmont Abbey will take home their first championship of the morning with a 7.775 out of an 8.5.
Crusaders rewarded on the quad tumbling pass. Brings us to aerial tumbling.
We'll have Converse, Lander, and Limestone in this. First up from Converse, we have Ayana Manning with a 9.95 start value.
So Manning performed yesterday in the conference team semifinals.
That's all right.
Bit of a
It's hard
slip.
for her to get out of that tumbling pass. It's a very difficult pass when you have front skills punching on a dead mat. It's extremely hard.
That's going to bring up Ryan Swope from Lander. Swope a start value of
10.0.
flat 10.
Flat 10, yeah.
And when there are so many elements and all of them are so hard, it doesn't take a lot, the slightest of slips before the momentum's gone, and now you're making
It's
decisions.
hard to make that up, yeah.
Do I try to push on or do I bail out and save
Save your body.
the body,
Yeah.
save the potential injuries? And specifically, when you're looking at teams like Lander, when you're looking at teams like Limestone, they're going to be competing in just a few more hours.
Yes. So it's a lot of mental strength, physical strength. You know, all these athletes do have strength and conditioning coaches out there that know their potential, and they gotta keep them nice and strong and healthy throughout the remainder of the championship weekend.
When there is an issue in a tumbling pass, it takes a little longer to judge because you can only judge
What you have seen, yes, and the revalue of, you know, not completing the skill that has been stated.
third of the way through the aerial tumbling. It'll be the sixth element, then the opening tumbling pass immediately following. Remember, don't go anywhere or go somewhere quickly because there'll be a brief 5-minute pause before the award ceremony at the end. Here's Ryan Swope with her pass.
She landed that one. Last night she struggled with that pass, so she round off whip Arabian, round off back handspring 1.5. A little under rotation, as you saw. She had to take a step backwards where she should have taken a step forward. That happens, but I think she was very pleased to be able to recover from her pass last night.
That was the one where the elements at the end weren't attempted.
Correct. And next we'll have Casey Kyer, who is the Conference Carolinas Athlete of the Year for acrobatics and tumbling. This is her second year in a row being named Athlete of the Year. She has a 10.0 start value.
Quite a long line of hugs for Kyle before the tumbling pass. Another bit of a pause in the judging. Is there any more nerve-wracking time than when you're back there and you're just waiting to do what you want to do?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we would have our athletes, somebody standing with them or whatever they preferred, to keep them loose and not thinking, about what they had to do. And just as she spoke about yesterday, not overdoing or underdoing, doing exactly what you know how to do and perform to the best of your ability with that high adrenaline.
Here's Kyer.
And she's able to execute that very well. It was a nice 10.0 pass there. She had front handspring front, round off back handspring 1.5, round off full. So yesterday she wasn't able to get out of that, so I think that's incredible for her and give her some hype going into tonight's finals.
It was a beautiful pass.
Beautiful pass, yes.
Six element tumbling upcoming. It'll be King's last appearance in the individual championships coming up in the six element tumbling.
In the six element, we'll have Converse, King, and Limestone. Converse and King both have a 10.0 start value, and Limestone has a 9.5 start value.
It's like a risky 10 versus a confident 9.5 as a coach.
Yes, yes.
On the individuals.
Depends on, their level of,
right.
What they can do and compete. And cleanly, compete cleanly.
Compete cleanly.
A lot of these athletes have incredible skills, but, being able to execute them cleanly in front of the officials is important.
And your Conference Carolinas Aerial Tumbling Champion with a score of 9.525 from Limestone, Casey Kyer.
And Casey Kyer takes that one with a 9.525.
I think that feels about right, given my very untrained eye, but just from what I could see, it felt like a really solid pass.
Oh, so, she felt confident in that as well, and I would agree from my coach's eye.
Back onto the six element tumbling. Sienna Brown up first for Converse, followed by Madeline Robinson from King and Emily St. Ange from Limestone. Limestone's fourth individual championship of the day.
And she was able to pull that one out as well. So punch front, that's a hard skill. Round off back handspring 1.5, round off full, getting out of that. She did a great job. 10.0 start value.
Madeline Robinson waiting in the wings, the final King athlete to compete on the day. High start value for Robinson as well.
10.0. She's worked incredibly hard on this pass.
Limestone's Emily St. Ange waiting in the wings after the pass of Robinson. And then we're to the final event. I know it's hard to not have favorites, especially when you've seen how hard somebody like Madeline Robinson's worked.
She was one of my athletes. I do have a soft spot for her, but she's worked incredibly hard, and that was one of her goals by her senior year was to have a 10.0 pass. So it's awesome that she, qualified to make it out here to compete for King University.
Waiting on the announcement. Should be forthcoming for Robinson's pass.
So she was able to execute that a little high on her whip, so she's probably not going to be happy about that one. But overall, it's a hard pass to execute.
And the Crusaders giving Robinson the tunnel to run through.
Again, everybody's extremely supportive, and that's what you want in a conference tournament. They're all out here to perform the skills that they've been given the ability to do, and I think it's a healthy competition is always important.
Brings on Emily St. Ange from Limestone University. The Saints will be the final of the 6-element tumbling pass.
She's a start value of a 9.50 here. We've seen her before in the duo pass, and she did a great job, so I think she'll be performing the same pass again.
Limestone going for their 5th individual event championship. It would be the first for Converse and the first for King of the day.
A beautiful pass there. That is what the officials want to see with those body shapes, and that beautiful step out. She had a lot of acceleration out of that. So I think, again, with that lower start value, you might see that result.
That was a very clean looking run from St. Ange.
Yeah, it's very clean. She's very happy with that.
We'll await the judges' estimates on the 6-element tumbling, open tumbling coming next. And that's really
our
just
final event.
Yeah, final event of the individuals. Maybe my favorite event. I think I've come around on the open tumbling. It's a little bit of creativity. It's a little bit of what's the best thing that you can do.
And sometimes it depends, because it's 6-element. We've had some high start values. We had some high start values in aerial pass. Opens typically like you're cleaner. Let's execute and get some extra points on the board.
And you can see that in the start values. Emmanuel, it'll be Limestone, and it'll be Converse competing in the open tumbling. It'll either be the first individual championship for King or Converse, or the 5th for Limestone. And we have a decision.
Limestone will take that with a 9.30 out of a 9.5. So once again, as I was speaking about that lower start value, being cleaner definitely helped her out there.
Only 0.2 of deductions spotted. And the 6-element tumbling pass from Emily St. Onge. It's the 5th individual championship of the day for Limestone. For Emmanuel, it's going to be Christina Bappel to start things off with the open tumbling pass.
She has a 9.10 start value. Beautiful round off back handspring, 1.5. She has so much power, but she over rotates each time. Just a slight over rotation though. She'll stay on the mat.
I'll bring up Michaela Norzer from the Saints, the second highest qualifier in the open tumbling event.
She has a 9.40 start value.
Receiving her last cheers from her teammates. She'll be moving from your right to your left. As the judges' tabulations continuing.
It's been a great competition this morning, and I'm excited to see tonight's final championship meet.
5 o'clock start time for Lander taking on Limestone. The 3-seed Bearcats taking on the 1-seed Saints.
Round off the whip to a 1.5. Very well executed. Small deductions there.
Now you get the step if you've declared it.
Yes.
At the end.
Correct.
Does the sort of balance correction come into part of that step, or is that something separate?
So that would be separate. So, I mean, I think as you saw earlier, with the different trios that we were talking about, they had the nice controlled landings, and you want to see that controlled landing. And so they can take off from that. Obviously, it's the discretion of the officials there.
We'll bring up our final tumbler of the morning session, the individual event finals. Krissa Gaines from Converse, the highest qualifier, also has the highest difficulty, 9.9.
At 9.90, and Krissa is a bounder, so you will see her use her hands one time in this pass. She executed this very well yesterday in the semifinals. So we'll see if she can do it again this afternoon, I guess now.
Here's Gaines.
And that was very nice. 3 whips through a full, all bounding. If you notice, she only used her hands once in that pass, and I think the amplitude of that full was nice, and she's very pleased with that.
So she uses her hands on the round off to get into
The pass,
rest.
and then that's it. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's very impressive, and with no springs. She has springs in her feet.
Right, I was going to say, just the natural ones.
She is.
That was fantastic.
She's been doing that pass for a couple years, and it's always impressive.
We wait for the scores of the final event. Remember, about a 5-minute pause. Don't go anywhere on the Conference Carolinas Digital Network. We will take a brief pause to set up for the award ceremony.
And we will be stepping away for that and letting the arena take over, and they will be awarding the first team and second team all conference and the awards for acrobatics and tumbling.
I think you'll see Emmanuel's coach honored during that ceremony as well.
Yeah, she went and did a little quick outfit change to make sure she was ready. They probably traveled in this morning would be my guess. I'm not sure.
Emmanuel down in Georgia. It's not a quick hop.
No, I mean, it's kind of, what, 3.5 hours, 4 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible event this morning from all of the Conference Carolinas teams. All weekend has been great, and it's exciting to watch the growth of the sport, and especially in our conference.
It's been a fantastic event, and King Hosting has done a brilliant job.
And we do have our winner.
And your Conference Carolinas Open Jump champion with a score of 9.550 from Converse,
Krista Gaines takes that one with a 9.550 out of a 9.90.
That was one. As soon as they announced the score, we knew.
We knew, yeah.
Nobody else could have had that score. 9.55 to round things out. It's Converse's first individual championship of the day and the last championship given out of the day. We're going to have a brief pause as we set up for the awards ceremony. We're going to drop out, but don't go anywhere. We're going to come back right at 5 o'clock for a fantastic finals. What are you looking for in that finals?
I think both teams just need to come out and execute, and I think it'll be a close one for most of it. And I think, again, it's always going to come down to team event when it comes to a championship meet, and, it's up to the officials at that point. But hopefully these athletes will have enough time to rest in between and, gather their mindset and come out here and compete their hearts out. And you always want both sides to do really well when it comes to a championship. So I'm excited to watch it and, have this be my second time commentating and still being a part of the sport.
5 o'clock for the team finals. We'll take a brief timeout. The